probably a fun fact on me is that I like to read. Like I like to read. That's a lost art nowadays. Oh, my great uncle is Jesse Owens. Won 4 gold medals in 1936.
I always want to leave people with this, man, to all the viewers and everybody out there, man. Make sure you guys finish your story. Make sure you guys finish your journey because somebody's going to need it.
Yeah. All you got to do is push the back button. That's all you got to do. Push the back signal.
Try not to think about the future too much so you can maximize the now.
Who's your favorite rap artist?
Man, to be honest, it's crazy. Tupac always been my number one, right? Like he got me through so much stuff, but Lil Wayne has been in the modern day.
I said, what does it really take? What does it really take to be great, Drew? And he looked at me and he was like, you really want to know? And he was like, to be honest, everything you did to get here, you need to be consistent times 10.
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy, Coach Lee, back at it like we're mad at it. Welcome to the Number Basketball Show. It's hump day up in this bad boy. 2 days away from the weekend. How we do it around these here pots. Man, let's get the crew up in here so we can rock this thing out like we always do. Coming in with that hot fire from downtown. My man, Two, what's happening, man?
Yes, sir, dog. Downtown's finest. Nah. I just say Austin Bright's finest. My name's Tucon. Let's get to it, man. It's hump day. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I get some hump over basketball show is what we're here for tonight. Hope everybody's tuned in tonight all over all platforms, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever everybody's sharing. That's where the show can be, shown at, So show some love, man. Shout out to Unc, man. What's going on with you, man? Fire. That's what we do out here. But before we continue the session, got to bring in the man, second-year player, man. You know what I'm saying? Kind of hit with injuries, you know what I'm saying? But, reboot, man. Reevaluate himself, man, and in for playoff season, man. We'll trade that line. Hopefully, he ain't traded. My guy, Willie, in the building.
You can't trade a franchise player. Stop that.
Hey. Never know what that happens.
How we doing, fellas? How we doing today?
Doing good.
Feeling like a mad villain, man.
Shout out to you, Chris.
Doing our thing.
We got people watching on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all of that. Let's talk sports. Welcome to the building. We appreciate y'all.
Oh,
we see you, Trey. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Unc's in the building. I see him. Look, everybody here. We doing the thing, man. We doing the thing. It's the NBA show.
The NBA show. Indeed. With a sprinkle of, some other things, basketball related, as
some comedy element to it. We like to clown, have a little fun.
Yeah. Gotta have some fun, man. Gotta laugh it up.
In the words of my guy Sean, the NBA is a joke and it's a comedy show. So we'll get some of that tonight. He's got his own sound effects. Absolutely, man. Shout out to you for the main sound effect, which we've auto-tuned and Will's turned into his own. So
gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, man. Struggle for the money.
Sound effects.
Oh, this academy, yeah.
Basketball show, man. So guys, man, as we it's always news and it involves basketball. It's always news around the helm. Every week we do this show, so some topics that we discuss, may have been talked about through platforms, but our platform is the best, so we're gonna spit it out in our opinion, in our way. So the NR week last week, Friday night that is, it was an LA Lakers game, LA versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Shannon Sharpe has been won last few games, actually. The last few Laker games, been in attendance. We know who Shannon Sharpe rides for. He rides for LeBron. He's a LeBron lover. He gets paid to talk about LeBron. Isn't that nice? So before halftime of the game, probably most of the first half of that instant, Shannon's yapping, being a fan. At the same time, being a Bron stan, gets into it with Dylan Brooks, which spurs into multiple Memphis Grizzlies trying to go at Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe's backing his own up. T. Morant even pulled his way to the helm, saying, to try to spark some flying foul. Shannon Sharpe wasn't backing down, but it's a basketball game. Probably nothing going to happen in this modern day of basketball. Fan-wise, something can happen. Shannon Sharpe's a fan this night. But we all know Shannon Sharpe is a host of, the show Undisputed. He's a media guy. And obviously in that type of incident, you're going to have to apologize. You're going to have to, let your job know that you was not, going there to, inflict any harm on anybody. And he did reveal his behavior in regards to the incident. He apologized over the weekend on Monday's episode of Undisputed. And we all seen it. He said, I've preached for the last 6.5 years about responsibility and accountability, and I take full responsibility for what transpired. Definitely a whole bunch of as a fan, I look at this as a fan of the game, man. But we're gonna let you guys tune into what happened on the screen. See Shannon over here barking.
Big Steven Adams.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that right after the game, even after he had already chilled out, him and T already like squashed it and everything during the game. But after the game, he put out the little tweet about who wanted smoke, who didn't want smoke. And it's funny, he ain't mentioned Steven Adams' name. He left that name off the list because he know that man wanted all the smoke and some. So he ain't mentioned that name. I'd also like to point out that
the Big Aussie.
Yeah, he don't want it with the Big Aussie, man. I also like to point out that Shannon, we get it, man. You big. Like, we understand. Take the cardigan off. Like, relax. Like, we don't need all that. You a grown ass man. There's kids at the games, man. Right. And you over here acting like a real child, man. Like, grow up, man. Like, I get it. It's all fun and games because nothing happened. But you embarrass yourself, your family, and your brand when you do that.
So so your question is, were the apologies fake? I would think they don't want to apologize, but they have to, kind of get in that situation. And I'm happy that situation occurred, when it did. If it didn't, then you ask other questions, you know what I'm saying? But, and the harm of them two, T. Morant and Shannon, who you've seen, T. Morant, it didn't involve him. He just came in, you know what I'm saying? It was just the next body come in, Shannon's like, whatever, what's up, So I don't think him and T really had any beef and drama. It's more of the Memphis Grizzlies team, and that's not going to stop. That's going to continue during the season. Shannon can't go to games and act a fool, but it's definitely going to be on the back of his mind. That's why I said the apology's kind of fake, because you're actually supposed to be apologizing in regards to the Memphis Grizzlies. You didn't do that. Apologize for what happened in the incident and everybody threw that T. Morant. No. We obviously see what happened. There's video of it. So, in that case, yeah. I think for the backside, it's kind of like, yeah, man, we'll see what happens. My sports talk.
He also started this before, too. Like,
before
the game. Before the game, he was talking about how Brooks is too small to cover Braun. And then when something happened, like...
So y'all saying Shay turning into, like, Cowboy fans here with LeBron, huh?
Yeah, it's bad. Like, he need to act his age. No, I mean, not his shoe size.
He's kind of over the top with it, man. Be over the top. We get it at your man.
He's been in the media a lot over the last couple months, and he's been yapping about the Memphis Grizzlies on Undisputed, speaking like, they haven't won nothing. All they do is yap and talk and all that. In perfect scenario,
they do talk a lot.
Right, exactly. And then,
like they got some O'Briens in the trophy case.
Yeah, but that ain't for him to police.
What's not for him to police?
But it's good for television.
It's definitely good for television. Definitely a good Friday night Laker game. You think Memphis is gonna blow these guys out? By the way, the Lakers did win that game.
I get it. I get it. The Lakers need ratings. I understand.
I mean, we have ratings regardless of what happens, but I mean, we'll take the extra ones.
Well, I was thinking of more of, they had the big dust up between him and Skip over the Hamlin tweets and stuff like that. I think he probably just trying to find a way to get out of that ESPN contract. I mean the Fox contract.
Fox. You think so?
so he can concentrate full time on Club Shay Shay.
Yeah.
It's growing.
He built the platform now. He built it.
Yeah.
So.
Platform is lovely. Platform
It
is
is.
lovely. And then the day after, I believe, or a couple of days after, he had his episode out now with T.I.
Yeah.
So T.I. the ways he can handle the situation, you know what I'm saying? And hey, man, sharing
They
that.
toasting the yard, talking about he ain't want none of that smoke.
He's a fan at the end of the day, but then we look back at this and he wasn't kicked out of the arena. You know, he was able to continue to watch the game, still talking yak, you know, during the game. But now you look at it from a fan perspective. You know, we've seen fans, present, past, you know, act wild, do things. And now you see a celebrity, you know, doing the same thing that some of these fans do. And this is the result of it. But we don't know because it's big time, obviously. But you look back to it, we try to minimize this, though you can do it a bit. But then when somebody like Shannon does this, that opens up a can of worms.
It sets a precedent for other fans that he shouldn't be doing that.
It shouldn't be doing that at all because now it opens the can of worms again. You know, it's kind of been on the chill side in terms of fans this season in the league. Haven't really heard anything. Haven't heard much. You know, hopefully we don't hear anything. Shannon Sharpe opened up 2023, you know, being the fan. The fan. Causing havoc all over the Staples Center. But like you said, Coach, you know, might be trying to open that platform wide open for Club Shay Shay. You know, so, and he's definitely doing a good job at that. And, I mean, even if he does leave FS1, he's in good hands. You know, he's established himself. And a lot of guys that establish themselves end up being dissatisfied.
He's a brand now.
Happen. You know, you see Marcellus Wiley, you know, doing his own thing. You know, spoke on Archo and how Archo wanted to go big. You didn't want to work with me. Hey, I'm going to leave here, man. I'm going to do my own thing. So.
That's my guy there.
You know what's funny? You got guys like Kyle Hurd who got their own stuff. You got guys like Shay Shay getting his own now. Why Skip just always hop to another show but never get his own thing?
Because he has nothing to offer by himself.
Skip has his own podcast.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
it ain't popping.
Yeah, it ain't popping.
I'll tell you why right now. Because there's fans that there's media guys that can do what it do, and then there's Skip. Let me tell you why Skip hasn't had.
I feel like he gives too much content to the big brands.
Skip's exciting when there's a bunch of people talking, or more than one. Him by himself is a bore. I watched that podcast and he's reading off of you, literally reading off paper, like literally, like I'm telling you, like
he's like
Skip's a good guy. On television when there's one-on-one, woo-hoo, shout out to Skip. He handles his own. But the podcast like that, nah, this is why Skip doesn't have a show. But you know, he's a great, you know, person to be in a duel. And
he's the perfect antagonist in the sports debate.
The best antagonist.
Because no matter what he says, he believes it.
Jalen Rose throwing shots
true
too. There was a Jalen Rose tweet that went around talking about basically you make your fame off, you know, fake trolling the Cowboys, and everybody thought it was Stephen A. that he was talking about, but he said he was talking about 1.4 Skip Bayless.
Yep.
So you know, overall undisputed right now. The two guys there is a roller coaster ride right now. But that's what happens when you're getting beat up, flatline daily and weekly. You know, old school WCW when they was beating WWF to death. Before Vince McMahon said, "Nah, man, we're gonna have Mick win the title, man. We're gonna turn it around. We're gonna go Attitude Era." You know, that's what's going on right now. ESPN is beating them over the head daily, beating them over the head. Now, you know, imagine Mad Dog with Skip Bayless. Maybe they would get ratings. You know, like ESPN rules that. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel like
they're the same dude.
Think so?
Mad Dog and Skip, they bring the same craziness to
the table. It's that same type of energy. You talk big about people and you really ain't got much else to offer from an analysis standpoint.
Pretty much, yeah.
One guy's reading the paper talking nonsense, and the other guy's yelling about 60s and 70s. Like
Yeah.
Hopefully we're gonna stand Nick around, man. But nah, that was a great one star. Shannon, man. We got you, man. But hopefully, this is not an act, something to follow. Jason Whitlaw's probably just dying right now. Shannon's crazy, man. Second topic.
He is not a fan of Shannon.
Our second topic of the night. Now, we know the All-Star game takes place on February 19th. And throughout the last few years, they've had the two captains go on screen on TNT before Thursday night game and announce their teams, one by one. This year, they get a twist and they put a twist on it, which I'm actually in for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit interesting on the night that you're like, it's the All-Star game. We know what's gonna happen. The two guys who win vote-wise not only get to pick their teams the same way it happens, but it happens the night of the All-Star game.
They pick them live. They took it to the playground.
They took it to the playground, so they're stepping it up. Like, basically, the world's going to see, because everybody's going to be tuned in that night, who the last pick is. in the round ball, charity game. Shout out to, the NBA as well, the game, the last few years is I like that, sequence where they go up to a certain number and then they just duke it out. You know what I'm saying? Gives it a little bit more love. But that's a first. So in the sixth time the league has used the format in which captains chose their teams, but in each of the first 5 instances, the rosters were selected several days before the game. The captains and starters will be announced tomorrow. That is pretty dope. Durant and LeBron, actually right now, Antetokounmpo has jumped up, so it may be another LeBron Giannis sequence. Both of those guys in. We'll see what goes on tomorrow. So, guys, does this make you more excited to tune in to the All-Star game if you've been tuning in prior years?
For me, yeah, because what I want to see, obviously, I got a vested interest in it. I want to see where Luka goes. Because he gonna need some help, and I don't think because he wasn't born here, he's not part of any type of clique or anything like that. So to try to to start building that camaraderie with people to see who he can get in here. He already said he don't anticipate leaving, but he ain't gonna stay here forever. He ain't got no help.
I think I remember it was the iconic shot of him shooting the half court shot with Trae Young and him leaning on each other at one of the games. Moments like that, he players like him. Players like Luka, they respect Luka. I think it's gonna be fun. He's gonna be one of the earlier picks because he's one of the best players in the league. So he's gonna be one of the earlier picks, and it'll be fun to see who we play with though. Because he gotta be because like you said, he gotta be whispering in ears. He gonna need some help soon.
So it's looking right now in terms of the All-Star starters, based on the third ballot,
Okay.
That Kyrie Irving and Donovan Mitchell will be representing the backcourt in the Eastern Conference, along with Giannis, Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, and Jason Tatum has now jumped up, in votes. The front court, and then Western Conference point guards. Well, guards. Sorry, they changed that a long time ago. Still love it. Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, and then you got LeBron, Jokic, and guess who comes in time to get their All-Star paycheck? Anthony Davis, who comes back tonight. We'll talk about that.
Mr. Glass.
Glass, actually.
KD as well. They're saying KD might play.
And KD might play, so these guys are coming right back at the right time. Adam Silver's like, "Yes, guys, you guys are gonna play."
I think they're saying that KD and Zion are both about 2.5 weeks out now.
Yep, Zion be reevaluated too, man. So the All-Star game, man, a little twist, man, something that's very, 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 very dope, and I just hope the suspense is even better.
I just want to close the game. That's all. I love when that game's closed down a stretch. I know it's going to be no defense, a bunch of alley-oops and threes throughout the whole game, but I love when it's closed down the end.
You got to have some type of climax in the story.
For And just for schedule too, man. Also, weekend 17th of February, which is a Friday, celebrity game, Rising Stars Challenge. You got Saturday the 18th, HBCU Classic. Something that's interesting that comes up to the helm. Skills Challenge, 3-point shootout, and slam dunk contest, as we all know. And then the night of the All-Star Draft and the All-Star Game. So, get a little popping, man. After your Valentine's Day, week. It's All-Star Weekend. So you don't got to deal with Valentine's Day. I mean, you have to, kind of. You have a Valentine, because they're going to want to go out on the weekend because, Valentine's Day, I believe, is during the week that we so. Call me old. Hey, we all old, man. It's all good. It's all good, Trey. Call me old, but I missed the East versus West. I like the Elam ended addition to the game, but I definitely the classic East versus West. Me too. I want the East versus West. I want them to go back to that format and the Elam ended. I would love both of them, and I hope that soon they will come to their senses that East versus West is actually, good for the game in general. I don't like all the crisscrossing.
I disagree. When it's East versus West, I mean, aside from like a few good years, West used to dominate, and that got old quick. That got boring quick. There's always going to be one. I feel like there's always going to be one conference that dominates a little more. That's got a little more going on, and when that happens, the game isn't great. So,
no, I understand all that, but I feel as if the last few, just from the few years perspective, and if it keeps going this way, I feel like the Eastern Conference has gained some ground. Let's just say that. And if it keeps going, maybe Adam Silver, follows the fan. One thing they do is kind of follow the fan's sake and the player's sake more and more in this generation. So it's not impossible to have East versus West again, But hey, you like the mix? It's cool. You still get your all-stars and they still get to play, and that's cool too. But it's the East versus West simplest. Like, come on, man. For one night we get to see that battle. You know what I'm saying? Coach of the East, coach of the West.
If anything, they should do East versus West for the rookie game, like rookie sophomore game. Make that East versus West if you want to. This way you can see the future dogs of the sport on each side. But I just think when that game, like I said, aside from that year, aside from
we get to see which side has the dogs. We only get to see which side has the dogs during the Elam ending. So imagine East versus West with that.
Which you don't know what side they play for?
What's up, Chris?
You know what side they play for. But East versus West, it's East versus West. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man. You got LeBron GMing. You know what I'm saying? LeBron gets to pick his future team that he's never gonna have. So
right. We know he loved playing GM. So
right, exactly. Set it up. Yeah, they have from a talent perspective, and hopefully they remain to, do that. So, fellas, y'all want to take a 20?
Yeah, we can do that.
And then we go into some little few injuries that we got on the block, and we'll discuss that. While we getting some water, you get some water too, and tune back in. We'll be back in about 15, 20.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, it's your girl Tamara Moore, former WNBA guard and current head coach at Mesabi Range College. I want to give a big shout out to STWF Media, the big brand, for showing love and always being about those good sports. Make sure you guys show them love. You and your community can join them every week to talk about sports. Shouts out to them and make sure you check them out.
Shots out to you. Appreciate you hanging out with us, man.
What you saying? Shout out to Miss Moore, man.
Keep Coach Moore be doing that thing.
I'm doing it, man. Definitely. So guys, we said earlier, somebody said Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We just have a few injury news reports that we want to get through. First off, shout out to my guy AD. He's gonna come back, and hopefully the glass doesn't get broken again. Guy's been out for about month and a half. Definitely a crazy injury. I didn't think he would be back this early, so it kind of questioned me again. But
it shouldn't be. They just traded for a power forward.
Yeah, 20-game absence for the injury. Return versus Spurs tonight. Davis will be on the minutes
insurance.
Should play more than 24 minutes in the game at Crypto Arena. It's unclear how long that minute restriction will be placed moving forward, which will be a concern. I think that should be a limit in regards to his playing time. You know, you don't want him to fall all the way max out. You know, even if he's coming back early, you don't want to do that. But I feel like long term, you should start sustaining that in you. He sustained the burn spur and the stress fracture in December 16th game against the Nuggets, in which he was dominating. You know what I'm saying? They say Jokic is the best. You know,
he is.
You know what I'm saying? And the pain started hooping in pain almost instantly after he landed on his feet. He's been playing some good basketball this season, but the instant is he can't stay on the floor. So you guys, for this trial that we're going to call away Anthony Davis returning, what's the over-under of games that, you know, he stays medically off the injured list?
I say 15.
I was going to say 13, so.
We're pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it another 20. I'm gonna give it another 21 this time.
You don't even got 20 games left?
Yes, you do.
I mean, just barely, like, just barely, right?
What's
the record right now?
What's their record right now?
Yeah.
What are the Lakers right now?
We like 22 and like 27.
I think you're right too.
22 and I believe it's 22 and 27.
Under 500.
22 and 26.
22 and 26. And like I said,
13.
LeBron has made it possible for this to be something that you're like on the low, like, hey, just make the play in. I still believe that we can do that now. Can we get on our heads and, you know, have a 8-9 game win streak? No. That's not the Lakers team that this is this year. But just continue to compete. I've been seeing the guys under AD come up and be decent presence. You know what I'm saying? They can continue to do that now that AD is back. You know, Thomas Bryant's been, you know, doing his thing. Shout out to him. And, you know, some of the bench players, you know, give Christie some more run, man, the young guy from Michigan State. I'm going to ride with these guys to the season ends because I said what was going to happen. They were going to have to play this all the way around. Now, there's been some speculation in regards to Westbrook, but I just think this team is going to just stay as it is. We'll see what happens, man. I'm not saying first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh seed, no. But we get in the play-in. There's still life and hope. It's one game, kind of you're done until you get to the playoffs, and that's what it is.
So, AD made the top 75 team, right?
Yeah.
Am I mistaken?
Yeah, he did.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
No. Real quick, no.
Because I'm trying to figure, first of all, I know we're talking about AD, but I thought, if anything, Dwight Howard should be in there before him.
Easily.
Right, easily.
But I'm looking at, he's missed 23% of the games he's been eligible to play. He's missed 176 games. He's had a stress reaction, fractured hand, back spasm, sprained toe, knee shoulder injury, strained groin, finger sprain, sacral contusion, calf Achilles injury, groin strain, sprained MCL, midfoot sprain.
He's Grant Hill.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, we all love Grant. We thought he was going to be amazing, and he was when he was playing.
Allen Houston in there?
Yeah.
But I understand what your guys' logic, but when it comes down to the set and the griddle, and you bring his averages up, you guys will miss games because in the NBA, you know, you miss a certain quarter of games, your stats don't get statted for the season. Most of those seasons have been eligible to have his stats participate in season yearly averages. Guys in career 24 and 10 guy.
So?
No. In his generation of bigs, he's right there. And I always say this to people. People say Hall of Famers, you got to look at where it is. Now, the Dwight Howard top 75, you should be there, but that's different. That's NBA. I think that's that's more politics to me than the Hall of Fame of basketball. But the Hall of Fame of basketball, they look at that. Anthony Davis will be looked at for that. He won't be looked at for his injuries. You know,
yes, he will. Grant Hill ain't in the Hall.
Huh?
Grant Hill ain't in the Hall.
Grant Hill's not in the Hall. Well, you're right, but we're gonna look at Grill. No, we're gonna
Brandon
be Grill. Grant should be there because of the college resume anyhow. But in terms of the NBA status, guy got hurt before, when the prime was just hitting the grass peak. So then everything else is kind of like, and then injuries. Then the averages don't sound right. AD was able to, Grant Hill was missing 60 games a season, 62 games a season. You know what I'm saying? Like, in that term is different. AD actually, you know, before injuries, pitting up these numbers.
Look, he played some, he put up some good numbers. He ain't going to the Hall. He didn't do enough. Unless he starts playing and getting some rings, I just don't see it. I don't see it. Like, it's a good average. That's great, but like, it's just averages, man. Those are just numbers. They were hollow. All the numbers were hollow. They led to nothing. So it's a tough call. Like, they led to nothing.
Let's not led to nothing, but you know,
he had like one playoff run.
Grant Hill's a Hall of Famer.
Is he?
Yeah. Grant Hill, but
that's also college too. Yeah.
College. Yeah. And AD, if it was college, then he played like Grant Hill in the NBA. Yeah, he wouldn't make the Hall of Fame because he played 1 year of college basketball, though he won the chip. Grant Hill played 4 years of college basketball?
Yeah, he had.
You know what I'm saying? So the Hall of Fame is kind of like in that swing, I feel.
Well, because you get the college too. Yeah, like I said, I mean, he only played the 1 year in college, and then he's got some good years. Like, here's the other thing. Do you think, all right, let's say he didn't win a chip. Do you think Love was going to be in the Hall of Fame? Because that's what he's basically done. He's put up numbers.
Kevin Love I feel as if Kevin Love was on that peak to get that. And then he
won rings.
He made the Cleveland move. But unlike Chris Bosh, a situation where Chris Bosh is a Hall of Famer, Kevin Love's kind of going to be on that line too. But we'll see in the future if he does get there. He's a name that will definitely be mentioned.
Here's the thing.
We're gonna say this. You're gonna have your black guys in the fame, you're gonna have your internationals in the fame, and you're gonna get your white guys in the fame. I'm gonna say that. So Kevin Love's name is gonna be in the bit. You're not gonna see Chandler Parsons there. You're not gonna see guys like that there.
Because he did nothing. We're not talking about that. That's not relevant. That's not relevant to this conversation because Chandler Parsons numbers.
No, it is because you just said. I feel like you said Kevin Love.
It wasn't a white thing. It wasn't a white thing. It was a numbers thing.
But Kevin Love
had great numbers
and the average. Yes, with Timberwolves. So, like I said, I feel like he'll possibly get in at some point.
Yeah. Here's what I'm saying. Look, you give me three guys from a similar situation, similar eras: Chris Bosh, Kevin Love, and Anthony Davis. I'm taking Bosh and Love's career before Anthony Davis. Easily.
Yeah, because AD's never been a man on any team he's been on. He's never been the man.
I mean, he was the man in New Orleans.
He didn't do nothing in New Orleans. Let's be real.
Right, they didn't go anywhere. But like when Love was the man, they didn't go anywhere either. So in that case, they're the same. Those two were the same in that case. Like they had the same type of when Love was dominating statistically with Minnesota, they were a terrible team still. When Ant Davis was dominating his team statistically, they weren't really going anywhere. They had one playoff run when they had Rondo with it.
Despite the injuries, 2014, 25-10, 2015, 24.3-10, 2016, 28-11, 2017, 28-11. His last year, the year where without all folks, still averaged 25 and 12.
No, these are good. These are great numbers.
And the stands of that, those numbers statistically They check the stat sheet too or whatever, but that right there is gonna get him in.
It's
That's
too short. How many years did he do it? It's like 4 or 5 years that he did that. Maybe a little more. Like, it's not a lot, man. I mean, maybe. Look, maybe.
What can I say? Real. Hold on. And it's crazy because the bubble year,
the bubble.
His statistics were less viable than they was last year in just 40 games, where he averaged more in last year's 40 games before the injury, before the bubble. But the bubble, everybody was like, yo, AD really, came about. Like, sometimes we have to dig in we dig into the injuries. The same way we dig into the injuries, you have to dig into, the game. You have to dig into, what this guy is producing on the court. And if he's missing only 20-something games in the season, then he's eligible and his stats are eligible. Now, if his stats are not eligible,
he gets 25% for his career.
25% career
for his career.
That's a whole
23.6%.
A quarter of the games. A quarter of the games that he could play, he didn't.
His 75% is on average better than millions and millions of NBA players that came along in the league. People want that big man, that average. Joel Embiid, Jokic, AD on the decline. We're not pinning him up with these guys right now, but him on the decline is still like a big man that you will want, a 20-10 guy.
Yeah, I say he has a shot at the Hall. He got a shot at the Hall because he's 24-10, 2-2. It's an all-around game.
Should your injury affect the Hall of Fame? Even if you
of course it should, because it does a lot of guys, but not everybody. So
not everybody, you know what I'm saying? Your Calabari, Krzyzewski guy, it may help you out.
I mean, Bill, I'm pretty sure Bill Walton's in the Hall, and his NBA career was nowhere near what his college career was, what he was supposed to be because of injuries.
Right.
Trey Sparks, another great example, T-Mac. Yeah, so I guess.
Yeah, man, Bill Walton.
That's why the NBA. That's why the NBA Hall is it's the Hall of the pretty good.
It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. That's what people don't realize. This is the Basketball Hall of Fame.
It's the Basketball Hall of the pretty good.
Now, we want to argue all day on the NBA Top 75, or we can mix and choose on that list.
Top 75, he belongs nowhere near.
That's something that we can actually. I feel like that's something that we can actually think about.
That's a better argument. That's a better argument than the Hall of Fame one. Ed Davis don't belong. Ed Davis don't belong nowhere near the top 75 list. Nowhere near. I wouldn't even put him top 100.
Jake, you agree, Jake? Shout out to you, Jake from State Farm. You know what I'm saying? Hey, play 75% of your games, man. Yeah, man, you do get a shot.
I looked at his stats. I turned it around. I believe he has a shot at it.
Definitely. Hey,
at the Hall.
Shout out to AD though, getting a little bit of love, man. Another guy on the injury update.
I would like it
though. At least 2 more weeks, man. Bill, I guess we won this one, man, because I thought 2 weeks he'd be back. But hey, Coach said earlier he may be snipping back. You know what I'm saying, for All-Star game, which is great. Kevin Durant, at least 2 weeks away from return to the Brooklyn Nets, though his right knee is improving enough for him to resume some basketball activities this week. Nets gave an update. Riley Williams III at the hospital of special surgery said is reevaluated yesterday at the hospital is MCL sprain. We're very pleased with the recovery, and he's progressing well. And as expected, he will continue to strengthen and do some on-court basketball activities. He's scheduled to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. Injured on January 8th, he was.
Yeah, but he said he's gonna try to make. He's gonna try to play the All-Star game.
Blame Jimmy Butler for the injury. You know.
Also, Jake, if you did 75% of your job at your job, you wouldn't have a job no more.
That's the truth. But Coach, you know what's happening tonight, right? What's happening tonight? Jake saying, Coach, you know what's happening tonight? What's going on tonight? Is there something that y'all doing that we don't know about?
I don't know. He's supposed to be on here. That's what I want to know. What is happening?
Jake,
where you at?
You got stage
fright. What is happening tonight?
You got stage fright. What happened last night? Sorry. Yes. So, Will, you did mention on a couple shows ago that this injury for KD, though the other leg, you kind of didn't have a promise on it. Do you still feel the same, or do you feel like this is an injury that he's going to come back from and possibly, No,
I just said it was going to take longer than what they said. It's going to linger.
No, you want that. I get
yeah. It's in terms of, I hope he gets back. I mean, the game's better with him on the court.
Right.
I mean, I'd rather him be on the court. I think he's gonna. You guys might be right in terms of it might not be a lasting thing, because if he's already talking about he himself said, I want to come back and play some in the All-Star game, that you don't do that unless you know that you're actually going to be okay. I feel like you can risk it for a lot of things. You don't risk it for an All-Star game unless you think you're good to go. So right. I think with that being said, he's probably feeling like he's rounded out in the shape. I don't see him playing long-term minutes in the All-Star game, but I think he enjoys that gathering of the fellas and that gathering of that unique club, that fraternity of the best of the best in the game. I think he'll come out, run up and down the court a few times, shoot a few threes, and then check out the game and be the best cheerleader there is. And that's fun. That's exactly what his fans could hope for.
Suns versus Mavs tonight.
That's tomorrow night.
With injuries. Oh, that's tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night on TNT.
5:24 right now. Who's winning tonight, fellas?
Jake jumping the gun.
I'm taking Mavs tomorrow night. Oh, Booker.
Luka got to come and see his kids.
Kevin Booker will be reevaluated too in a couple weeks too. That's some news for you, Jake. And the Suns, Booker will be reevaluated too. He'll be coming back from his injury soon. Now this next story is not injury related, but it's some sad to this story.
Yeah.
Definitely some sadness to it. Coming from the college basketball world, Darius Miles, former now Alabama basketball player. He was on the team before this incident, charged with capital murder. He was charged in capital murder in the shooting death of a 23-year-old woman early Sunday morning. Man, this is crazy. And it's heartbroken for the family of the victim, the lawyer says in a statement. Miles and another man were charged with the capital murder and the shooting death of Jamia Jonay Harris in Tuscaloosa near Bryant-Denny Stadium. Darius and his family are heartbroken tonight over the death of Harris, which this situation is crazy. And I watched the TMZ report in regards to it. They were both charged. Involved shots fired into a vehicle. At the time, it appears the only motive was a minor altercation, which people know, and that the individuals had the victim as they head out the strip. So who knows how the situation came about? They have to obviously get more news from people in the strip or in the hood or anything. But Kennedy said the driver of the vehicle, in which Harris was a passenger, approached campus police near the football stadium at around 1:45 a.m., saying that someone had shot into the vehicle and he was firing back. One of the suspects was wounded and suffered long life-threatening injuries. Police didn't say who was hurt.
Man, this is just another case of loss of life that we did not need at all.
Totally unnecessary.
Yeah, like what are you doing, D Miles? Unless you down bad because you spent all your money, why are you even in situations like this? Why are you still involved in nefarious or street life type stuff? I don't understand that. It's another thing we gotta teach these athletes how to invest their money and keep their money so that they're not in situations like this. But also some be in these cases while still having money. We just saw Loyola Malloy. We know he's doing okay with the money. Bully McGinnis. We saw him. He was doing okay with the money, and he's still getting himself in trouble going to nightclubs.
Busting bottles.
Yeah, like you bottling, dude. You're a grown old ass man with almost grandkids probably now. Like, what you doing, man? Like, I don't understand some of these athletes. Yeah, this is sad. This is tragic, man. Like, I feel for the family.
My condolences go out to the family. Earlier before the incident, he was built for the team the next day, but before the incident, he had an ankle injury and he was put on the sidelines. Guys from Washington, D.C., so my question is, I mean, how'd you get into all this mess, you know what I'm saying, being in Alabama? I mean, he's been there for 3 seasons, so he definitely has a follow-through within the neighborhood. Once you're there for a certain amount of years, you know, you kind of feel like, you know, you get accustomed to it, things of that. So you might have been dealing with things that you shouldn't have been dealing with. For that situation to end up in a lady losing her life. Anybody losing their life.
It's just this
There's no
accident,
sense
man.
that. Immediately booted off the team, which he definitely should. He definitely will probably never play another professional, college, anything at that helm. The most basketball he'll probably be playing is in lockup.
It's a wreck. Yeah, he going away.
Wreck time for real, man. But shame on him, man, and the other people involved in this violent situation. Terrible.
So I don't think it's been actually verified yet, but I know one of the original reports that I saw was the young lady was with, the guy that fired back at them, but they tried to holler at her. She didn't want the advances. That's where the altercation came from, scuffed up, and this was the end result. They just report that I saw earlier, not confirming or denying what they may be.
Not now.
But that's what I saw.
Because even in a situation where they're hollering, and she's not like whatever, the guy in most instances, you know what I'm saying, if you're sensitive, you do get mad, and it does turn out like that sometimes. So, I mean, but the fact that the girlfriend didn't respond to do anything, but the guy, obviously something triggered him, to retaliate the way he did. And ultimately end up in this situation right now that he's in.
Totally avoidable situation. And the university, any affiliation they had with him, they scrubbed it completely from their website.
Definitely, as they should. ESPN still has him on there. I just looked him up, little bio. ESPN still has him on their website. You look for them. They keep the criminals there.
I mean, so who ended up actually firing the shot?
Well, they fired the first shot.
He fired the second.
He fired back.
D Miles fired back?
Yeah.
No, D Miles fired first.
Shit. God damn.
And the guy that was with the young lady that got killed returned fire.
That's wild, man.
And he's the one that went to campus police to let them know there was an altercation and she had been hit.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
He knew he did something, screaming to his mom, "I love you," after they arrested him. Yeah, man, he know he fried. Down south, yeah, he fried. Capital.
It just lets you know you can be a perfect, I won't say a perfect person, but you can be a model citizen, and one bad decision that can go quick as that can alter the rest of your life and somebody else's life that might have been affected.
Well, yeah, if you toting guns and whatnot, yeah, that's gonna. If you shooting and stuff, yeah, that's how that's gonna end. Like, unless you just got a license to carry and that's all you're doing. But if you actually out here living that life with a reason to shoot at somebody, you're probably gonna use the gun, and it's always gonna end bad. It's gonna end with you killing somebody or somebody killing you.
Yeah, that being a gun owner is you can't be an irresponsible gun owner.
We just had the New Mexico situation with the guy that, you know what I'm saying, fired, man. People just need to go to school what you're going to school for. And I don't even mean to be like that, and insult you if you feel assaulted right now.
Nah, hey, that's truth, man.
You going to school for basketball
to better your career in your life.
Yeah, like what else do you have to do there? Like why?
All right.
And that's something that's gone on forever.
I mean, something that's going to go on definitely forever. Definitely something that's going on. I'm not saying, you can't go get a couple bucks or whatever the case is. You got to survive. You know what I'm saying? College ain't that sweet as people, say it is, in terms of that. But to get involved in stuff like this, no. You don't have to. There's no point. Especially you a student athlete.
Yeah, there was no need for any of this. That's wild.
How much time y'all think he gets?
20.
Yeah, depends if that gun's registered or who it's for.
Yeah,
all type of stuff. Is there hollows in it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables, man. How many priors he got?
And then he actually could probably. I haven't seen the formal charges, but 2 people in a vehicle. One was killed. It could be attempted murder on the second person.
Yeah, they're probably. Here's the thing: if he wasn't aiming to that's the crazy part. They with the right lawyers, they're gonna give him manslaughter. He might end up getting murdered, though. It depends. But like, if they could try to prove that he wasn't really, that he was just firing, but he's I don't know, he's done, man. It ain't looking good. It is not looking good.
Definitely not.
Anybody have any sympathy for him?
No, not at all.
I ain't got no sympathy at all. Definitely, man. Definitely got no sympathy, man. But I know one thing I'm gonna do. This is some bull crap, you know.
Yeah, for real.
Guys might need a drink, man. Y'all ready to take this last break and go down through NBA ranking road?
Absolutely.
We can do that. We'll be back by 15-20. Hold on to your butts.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Gritty checking in. This Friday I'm live with STWF Media, man. Little interview coming soon. Everybody, y'all tune in, man. We got some big coming. Let's get it.
Just for my man Will.
My God.
Justice for man.
I
Will,
appreciate you.
With all these call stories a lot, you know, Will, you know, kind of familiar, you know, to this stuff. He's a Florida Gators fan. And
oh God, here we go.
That long book of history in it. But enough of that. Guys, you know, I think this is the best segment, you know, the show at times, you know. We sometimes hit on people.
It can be.
Sometimes we hit on it wrong, but we always get there safe, you know.
It depends what happens.
We gotta wave turns, man, you know. So in this week's edition, you know, it's the last full week of January, and you know, we can't go out without what? Power rankings, you know.
Power rankings.
A shout out to, you know, all the teams weekly that keep their spots, you know, teams that can't keep their spots. But we're going to go down. Shout out to NBA.com for this week's power rankings. And we're just going to go down the line, up the line, from 10 to 1. So let's get it started here. Once I get down to 10, I apologize, guys. Starting at number 10. Down in the rankings from last week, the New Orleans Pelicans. Notice tonight, Brandon Ingram is on helm playing tonight. They still missing Zion Williams. They haven't had both of them in their lineup. No longer the case, and the Pels may really be feeling the effects of absences from both of them. They've lost 4 straight, and it's been their worst 4-game stretch offensively by a pretty margin. Seems that, you know, New Orleans is screaming for them 2 guys back because you can only do so much, you know, if it's CJ McCollum or, you know, Valanciunas, you know, and other guys. You know, they're still young. Right. You know, so, you know, Ingram and Zion kind of, you know, get a lot on that plate. So, shout out to the New Orleans Pelicans, though, still in the top 10 frame. And I feel like as they get healthy, you know, they can kind of have that reboot that they had earlier in the season. I don't know if that would be sustainable in June. I don't think they get there in June, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. At number 9.
We already off the Pels. Sorry.
Jumping up. 26 and 22. The Miami Heat, shout out to them on a great win yesterday. They have seen the biggest drop in 3-point percentage from 37.9 to 33.5, which is from 1st to 27th.
Ooh, that's crazy.
Definitely. But January has been their worst month shooting. But it seems that for some reason they're getting better. Which doesn't make sense to me.
And Jimmy's down a little bit. Well, he sat out last night.
Last night, which had a couple kids heated. He actually
I saw that poor kid, right? You saw that?
Yes.
I traveled 44,000 miles to come see Jimmy Butler play, and then bam, he sat.
But due to antics of their so-called play, along with other teams that were in front of them playing bad, the Heat have jumped up in the playoff column. Now they are 6th in the Eastern Conference. So Miami, hopefully, you know, they can resume getting healthy, make a acquisition trade at the trade deadline, and kind of be respectable as playoffs come around. We got number 8, and they're moving up. Best team in California. If we all said the Kings, who would they say we be smoking? A lot of moon rocks. But the Sacramento Kings are the number 8 team at 26-19. They have the league's number 1 offense in January.
Surprising.
Best offense in the league.
Was one possession. Modest Samotis and DeAndre Fox. Yeah, you could speak on them and all that, but I love the core guys that they have. Paying attention to the game, getting better in the game. Keegan Murray, you know what I'm saying? They'll get Rashawn Holmes back, which is their little dog out there.
Keegan's a beast as a rookie.
But the crazy thing with the Kings is they ranked 4th in defensive rebounding percentage this season. So a lot of opportunities that teams are not getting second chance opportunities, and they're able to flourish off that and pick more points up on the board. Usually it's the team 200, the Kings 100. But this year it's looking like the Kings are trying to change the script as the beam flies in Sacramento, man. Shout out to those Kings doing big things. Like D-Ross looking spectacular.
Finally.
Jump out.
Finally? Yeah, finally.
Number 7, 29-17. The Milwaukee Bucks. They haven't had Giannis for this last 4-game stretch of 5 games and 7 nights, but they won both games in their second back-to-back, scoring at least 130. They let Serge Ibaka go, which does nothing, in terms of nothing, because he wasn't doing anything. Drew Holiday led the way with 35 points. He's been picking up the offensive notch since his 2 guys have not been playing. Made 10 3-pointers and assisted on 10 more of the Bucks. Shot 42 for 85 from Rihanna Ark in the last 2 games.
Did you say they let Ibaka go?
They let Ibaka, yeah. They let Ibaka go.
Okay.
Wonder where he ends up.
Definitely. Now at
somebody pick him up.
Now at number 6, no jump. Stays right there, the same spot, number 6, the Cleveland Cavaliers at 29-19. Without Donovan Mitchell, I believe, tonight. But they've been better with only one of them on the floor than they've been with both of them on the floor, which is the bigger difference on defense. Really, the numbers are better than only when Garland plays, even though they've won all 9 games he's missed, and are just 2-6 without Mitchell, who's missed the last 3 games with a growing injury. So the Cavaliers remain amongst the top teams and one of the teams to continue to look at. As we all say, very nice trade deadlines coming. They have a lot of assets, that they can probably distribute, to kind of make that team.
You think they're sellers?
They're sellers.
Really?
They're sellers.
In the top 10?
I think they're gonna be buyers.
They could be buyers, and they could be buyers and sellers because they have guys that can.
So it's fluid.
I said this all season. I think so. I think they could be sellers and buyers. They're in a situation like this because they had capital having those draft picks, and drafting good. Then you get a splash. You get a star, trying to become a superstar. If you call him a superstar, you call him a superstar, and that's cool. But you get Donovan, and then you already have some great players ascending. And then you have guys from your former teams that you still can put some value into a team if you want them.
Yeah, I guess in the sense that they could probably move Karras, that might make them a seller in that particular guy. But as a whole, they should be looking to buy, I feel like, and
but
solidify that team.
To buy, you got to sell too. And I feel like they have guys that you can sell. You can kind of say, hey, like, for instance, like, Kevin Love's playing for the Cavs. He's been solid. He's been playing with them. But when you look at the trade deadline, are you looking to, like, what I'm saying? Is he in the inside, asking for, we don't know. Just a couple years ago, he was displeased with him.
Yeah, but from all accounts, what I've heard, he's loved it there this year. He's having a great time, and he is the veteran presence they need. They'd be crazy to move him now.
Definitely. Well, we'll see, man.
We will see.
They definitely have some assets, and I've been looking at their team all year, and I'm like, they have some things. If they want to push at the trade deadline to go get something, better, then go ahead. But you have guys that you can move around. Number 5, taking a dip down, but hopefully that dip doesn't last. And that's the Brooklyn Nets, 29-17. They lost their first 4 games after Kevin Durant's knee injury, but they've been blooming as of late. You know what I'm saying? Doing their thing, man. Come back at Golden State on Sunday, gave them 5 wins in games they trailed by 15 points or more, and almost 27-10 run to end the game was pulled off by a lineup that had Seth Curry in place of Ben Simmons, the same group that almost rallied back from 22 down to 4th against Phoenix.
And they down by 9 right now to Philly.
and they're down now right now when Ben Simmons is returned to Philly, and we all know he's getting booed the hell out of.
Every touch, he deserves it with a bum.
Kyrie has been assertive over the last 4 games.
Stall him out, man. Stall him out.
Look, assertive, but still like 8-8-8. He's a stone cold bum.
Kyrie's been hot though, 38.2.
Kyrie's been Kyrie been driving a bus.
He been bus driving.
He been driving the bus.
The bus driver. You hear me call the bus driver? That's where I get it from. I got it from Smitty.
Yeah.
Smitty called him the bus driver.
He been driving the bus for sure.
This team, sir, talk a lot. Number 4, taking a little dip down. You know what I'm saying? The Memphis Grizzlies, they ranked the top 2 in second chance points per game. You know, as you know, they got guys, but another news, Steven Adams is out 3 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt a lot.
That's gonna hurt them inside. They're gonna need guys like Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark, you know what I'm saying, to really step up their game and all that. You know, injuries to the backcourt at first, and Morant and Bane. Now you're going down the line in the front court. You know, this team, I feel like they'll still find a way to do their thing, you know, and have wins come up on the scoreboard, you know, in terms of the regular season. But it's starting to feel to me that they may be just a great regular season team.
You wouldn't be able to learn that right now.
Yeah. You can learn. You learn sometimes. Maybe not.
Yeah, you can't learn that. You can't learn that to the playoffs.
No, no. It's kind of been the same song. It's kind of like they flourished in the besides the year that they bust out and I think they go to the conference finals or semis. They went to the semis.
Yeah.
But every other year, I feel like it's just like, it's like they just a good regular season team. They're a good, entertaining team for a regular season. You know what I'm saying? And it could go to the playoffs because you have guys that could potentially get you there. But I just feel like this may be their ceiling. But hey, playoffs are going to come up, and hopefully they can prove themselves. But the only reason we will say that they're one of the contenders is because with the West wide open, they've been one of the teams that have been able to show out. Yeah, man, this is starting to look like a regular season team to me, and these injuries are not helping.
Yeah, we'll see. Me personally, I don't make those distinctions until the actual playoffs, because then you can tell. Also, again, how many teams like we talked about it with your Cowboys, not to make it about that, but sometimes you got to get over certain teams and learn how to win in the playoffs before you get to be considered that. They got a nice team. They built from the draft. They built within.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say this, though. If they don't have the type of playoff run that they're looking for based on their record right now this year, then I can see some changes being made next season.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They're going to have to shake it up because it's been, the last 3 years?
Unfortunately, a guy I really like is probably going to be where they're gonna have to move. It's Jaren Jackson.
Because of the injuries?
Not the injury. It's because he never plays to the potential that he has. He is for all the talent that kid has, he is a career underachiever. Like, his numbers are not where they belong. He should be a great defender in the league. He's a good defender, but he should be a great defender. He got a 3-ball and the ability to post, and he has a game that overall, like, maybe take away the handle, but it's like AD reminiscent, and he is playing nowhere near where that type of that level. So,
and never will. No,
probably never will. No, never will.
Agree on that. At least we agree on that, man. But
sure.
Memphis, this might be the Iguodala effect, and I'll just leave it on that. You know what I'm saying? Jumping up, number 3. Now, I say we kind of could write the script on this team too. But like Will said, I'll wait for to see the playoffs too, because it'll be exciting. Well, probably not, depending on what happens. The Sixers, number 3. Philly's number 3. Seems like they're healthy. They're healthy right now. All the guys are playing.
5-game winning streak.
5-game winning streak. They hot. Joel Embiid, you know what I'm saying, doing their thing. They seem happy. They seem happy right now.
See, I'm a little different.
Team. Doc Rivers looks like he's 08.
So I view them the way you view the Grizzlies, and that's because we've actually seen the tip top of every player on this team aside from maybe Maxey. Embiid's not getting any better. He's great, but he's not getting any better. Harden's best years are behind him. Tobias
He still
Harris.
got Doc Rivers on the sideline.
Tobias Harris, and that's the other. And last but not least, the fish rots at the head. Their coach has shown us time and again that unless it's that 08 Boston team, it ain't it. Right. He ain't it.
Well, we got Jokic out tonight. I'm hoping that he's playing Sunday because you get a big man matchup on Championship Sunday. You get Jokic versus Embiid. You get Denver versus Philly on Sunday. Yeah. That should be an entertaining matchup, man. You know, to watch and all. They look good right now.
They do look good right now. Yeah.
This is kind of a team that we've seen a situation.
We've seen it often, very often.
They the Buffalo Bills of the NBA.
They squat, you know what I'm saying, and they make it look bad.
So,
definitely do. Number 2 team in the NBA.
City too, huh?
Number 2 team. Denver Nuggets. Number 2 team in the league, man. They lost a game in which their starting center registered a positive plus minus, getting stung by bench spinners once again. But that starting center was Zeke Nashani, not Nikola Jokic, who's missed the last 2 games with hamstring tightness. Might be sitting out a little bit. I don't know.
You can only hope. You can only hope the best big in the league sits out.
You know, they kind of need this. They kind of need this to kind of see where their team is really at, where the rest of these players are really at. Not saying they need an injury, but he needs to relax a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's an 82-game season, man.
Yeah, you don't need to play them all. No one else is.
If you want to load, if Kawhi Leonard can load minutes every couple games, why not Nikola Jokic? You know what I'm saying? That's where the game is now.
Have y'all seen their home record?
Came to an end. Lost to the Thunder on Sunday.
Denver.
Home win the streak. They're home.
Is it great? Because
22-4.
Yeah, they up there in the mountains, man. Nobody don't play up there. It's not football where like you run real hard for like 30, for 10 seconds, and then you get to like get a breather, and you run.
Continuous
it's continuous up there, man.
Nobody on a Wednesday, Thursday night. I'm gonna be real. A Wednesday, Thursday night in the NBA, you do not want to play in Utah. You don't want to play in Portland.
Nope.
And that place you just mentioned, Denver, you don't want to play in.
But Denver's like the worst one. That's my eye, man.
Listen. Right lights in your life. Yeah.
And then you gotta see the best. And then you gotta see the best big in the league. So
every night. And speaking of, this team doesn't have the best big in the league, but they have the best team in the league. They might take a dip depending on what Denver does this week because they've already lost last night. But shout out to the Boston Celtics, keeping again the number 1 ranking in the NBA at 35-12. Looking like Joe Mazzulla is going to be coaching one of these teams. You know, shout out to Joe, you know, on an amazing achievement, you know, taking all the things that Ime Udoka wish he still had right now. And, you know,
I still don't
the season is they say focus.
I still don't know what to think about Mazzulla. Like, we've had times, like I said, we've had times where he calls timeouts and don't say a word. And I don't know who runs this team. I do know they like him. I saw this funny ass story the other day where I guess he walked into the locker room in front of Marcus Smart, right in front of his locker, does a standing backflip, just busts out a backflip in front of Marcus Smart, then points at Marcus Smart and says, "You can't do that," and then walked out. And then one of the reporters asked Marcus, he was like, "Is that like an inside joke or something?" Marcus was like, "I don't know what the hell that was." He was like, "We got to stop giving him sugar." So, like, the players love him. I just don't know how much coaching he's doing, like actual coaching. I don't know.
He's the modern era coach. He's the modern era coach. I see coaches all around now, and that's exactly what it is. It's just like, you know, you can be a likable guy, but you got to have the X's and O's at the end of the day. So let's see if Joe can not say develop that, but make it more of his, you know, DNA instead of being the guy doing backflips in the locker room.
And I appreciate him being humble and being honest when certain questions are asked of him, and he just says, I don't know, or I made the wrong call. But like, they're piling up. You should maybe just not say that every time.
He's still in shock mode. He's still in shock mode. Like,
I think he is still in shock that he has this job. Like, he's in way over his head, but he's got a team.
You with the Boston Celtics, like your first coaching gig.
I know.
Head coaching gig with the Boston Celtics, a prestige franchise. Like, he's still like mesmerized.
He's as in over his head as any head coach has ever been in the history of the league, in my opinion. But the team is actually so good that we're not noticing
You
how
can't
bad
mess
this
it
is.
up.
It's hard for him to mess this up. Like,
Does he get exposed in the playoffs?
He could, but it's gonna be situational.
Okay.
That's when it's gonna happen. It's not even like the X's and O's like that. That in the NFL you get exposed quick if you don't got the X's and O's. In the NBA, not always. The NBA you're gonna get exposed more in situational situations.
Like if you got
right.
shooting 4 for 40,
and he's already had a few mistakes like that. And even when he's had those mistakes, we've won some of those games, so it's not looking bad on him yet. Like I think last night, I think he had one. No, 2 nights ago, we had where he called a timeout. No, he didn't call a timeout when he should have, and then to make up for it, called a timeout the next time and shouldn't have. And he acknowledged it. He acknowledges that it's a learning curve, and you should see the home cooking on the shows after the Celtics games. All like you got Eddie House in them and all them dudes from within our organization talking. It's nothing but excuses, but at the same time they're like, look, it's a grow. They keep pitching it. It's growing pains, but like, look, it's gonna be just pain eventually if you don't figure some of this stuff out. Like it's gonna be just pain in the playoffs. So this team is, despite him, the best team in the league, and great things are expected. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Man, I'm excited to see it because either way, like I'm gonna be happy. My Celtics are going to the playoffs as the number 1 seed, most likely, barring a severe drop off. We're probably gonna go in with a number 1 seed. At worst, probably number 2, and then from there we get to see how this coach who has the combined knowledge of maybe all of us right here and see how he does. But I'm excited. I'm excited.
Hey, y'all Celtics are number 1 right now. It looks like that positivity is gonna ring through. Hopefully June, if not, probably April or May. But I'm hoping for April or May because I cannot care for this team to play another damn June.
Oh, we tuning, bro. Come on.
But guys, man, nothing but basketball. We spoke nothing but basketball, and I hope you guys enjoyed us tonight, doing our thing, the 3-man weave, as we call it. If we did that back in the day, salute to you. You're probably
I love that.
Athlete, but
pass cut behind who you pass to.
And lay it over with the right hand.
Lay it over the right hand. All day. To do a nice bounce pass. You know what I'm saying? At the top, at the free throw line. You know what I'm saying? But I'll start the shout outs out, man. Shout out to everybody that tuned in tonight, man. Shout out to my guy Shane Gary trying to run the Boston Marathon, trying to get donations. Any donation is great, big or small. Post it in the group page. So shout out to him, man. Want to give a shout out to you guys, man, for keeping up with me, man, and willing to, be here with your boy on a Wednesday night, Tuesday night, Monday night, whatever night, man. It's a lot of patience you got to have to deal with. So I appreciate
it. The chat was quiet tonight, man. I'm a little upset about that. But it's cool. It's cool. We can't win every night. We try to win every night, but we can't win every night. I mean, so for those who did show up, we appreciate y'all as usual. There was a lot of closer family in here tonight, really. Like, but yeah, man. Today was the NBA show. We did our thing as usual, and we're gonna keep doing our thing. Do we have anything secretly lined up for tomorrow? Was there some kind of pop-up show? Was we plotting on a pop-up?
I think Two's got something tomorrow with on another podcast, right?
Maybe next week. Next week.
Okay.
They tagged me in something, but should be next week. As Thursday, tomorrow. I'm actually. So probably.
Fair enough.
Just making sure. I just want to make sure we didn't have something.
The perfect time for man. We might be in the chat room and like, hey, man, you want to do something? And we have the ability.
Never know. Never
know, man.
It's up to y'all. Sometimes if y'all in the chat come up with some craziness that we need to talk about, we ain't got no choice but to come talk about.
Y'all got stage fright. Maybe you'll see Jake. Maybe you'll see Jacob Dolo. You know what I'm saying?
Jake.
You know what I'm saying? Jake, we looking for you, man.
Jake the Snake from State Farm.
Hey, shout out to Aunt Chris, Trey, Bobby, Jamie, Chris Ballard, Jake, Latanya, and Bernard. Appreciate y'all hanging out with your boys tonight on the Number Basketball Show, man. Yeah, we always working on stuff. We're gonna share some yummy goodness with y'all, man. You know, football season coming to the end, so we gotta fill time slots.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Let's Talk Sports too, of course.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
In collaboration, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna blow up.
Absolutely, man. We're gonna try to, dictate, what I'm saying, dictate the dictate, you know what I'm saying, and we're gonna run the town. So, hopefully you guys continue to tune in with us, follow us on all our social media platforms, and hop in the group, man, see what we about, man. Maybe a few guys, trolling around, but in all, man, we a family, man. You know what I'm saying? When it's time to get at the table, we're not crazy. So come ride the wave.
I wonder if there's a correlation there. Quiet for quiet. Well, we'll talk about that later.
No.
We appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, continue to share.
Absolutely.
We appreciate y'all. Because without y'all, this cannot happen. Appreciate you hanging out with your boys. Peace.
You know what time it is.